Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how can we estimate the future value of the financial products. So let's take a look at the question number 1. So assuming we have the risk-free rate of 10% and then the current stock index is at 500 and they want us to estimate the future price 6 months from now. So the calculation is pretty easy. What we have to do is write down the future value, then equals to 500. Okay, and then we write down this one, and then it will be 0.10 times 0.5. So some of you might be asking, okay, so why is it 0.1? Because they stated here the risk-free interest rate is 10%. And why is it 0.5 here is because they mentioned that we need to find out the future value 6 months from now, and 6 months itself is representing 0.5 years. So how can we know that whether the 6 months is 0.5 years? So what you need to do is you're taking the 6 and divided by the 12, and you will notice that 6 over 12 is basically 0.5 after you convert it into a decimal. Okay, so very simple. We can just press everything in the calculator, and the calculator can give us the answer straight away. So here is the answer, 525.64. Okay, so this simply tells us that, okay, the estimated future price for this stock index will be 525.64 6 months from now. Next, let's move on to the question number 2. And this question we're talking about the commodity, which is the silver. And over here they mentions that there's a storage cost of 20 cents. Anyway, the 20 cent storage cost here is actually for a year. And here they mentioned to you that they're going to make the payment for this storage cost in quarter. Okay, some more is in advance. Okay, so assuming that there's a 10% interest rate as well, they want us to find out the future price for this silver 6 months from now. So what we need to do, so basically it's the same thing like the question number 1. It's just that we need to find out the present value of the storage cost at the very beginning before we proceed with the future value. So here, this is how we find out the present value for the storage cost. But before I find out the present value of the storage cost, let me draw the timeline for you. So imagine here is a timeline, and here t equals to 0 is representing current situations, or indirectly I would say currently. Okay, t equals to 0 means now, okay, or currently. And they want us to predict something 6 months from now. So here I can write down the t. The t is actually for the time, for your information. So here they mention is 6 months from now. So here I can just write 6m like this. Okay, right. So in between, I need to add on one more, and this is 3m, which is 3 months from now. Okay. Why I wrote this timeline, why I draw this timeline is because that I want to show you how can we find out the present value for the storage cost. Okay, so this 20 cents is actually for a year, and some more they make the payment for this storage cost every quarter. So meaning to say they're going to pay this 20 cents in 4 different quarters. So each quarter you have to pay the 5 cent storage cost. Okay, and some more here they mentions that you pay in advance. So means before you store this thing in a warehouse, you have to pay already. Okay, so you just imagine now you have to pay first the 0.05. okay, and this 0.05 is actually the storage cost for what? For the first month, second month, and the third month, right? Okay, because you have to pay in advance. Okay, so the next payment will be 3 months from now. Okay, and this second 5 cents is actually the storage cost for the 4th month, the 5th month, and the 6th month. Okay, for your information, we only consider until here because they want us to find out the future price 6 months from now. So we only consider until this part. Okay, it's not necessary for us to include everything, the 20 cents here. No. Okay, it depends on the questions, depends on the requirement of the questions. Yeah. Okay, now guys, just now I mentioned to you guys that we need to find out the present value of the storage cost. Okay, so this is how we find out. For your information, this 5 cents is something that you have to pay 3 months from now. So meaning to say, you need to know what is the present value for this 5 cents. Okay, so this is how we predict the present value of the second 5 cents here. We take the 5 cents and then we write down this one, and then we comes with the negative. Okay, 0.10. Why? Because they mentioned a 10% interest rate. Okay, and this time should be multiplying by 0.25. So some of you might be asking two questions as follow. First, some of you might be asking, why this one is negative? Okay, bear in mind that every time when you are finding the present value, you need to put a negative for the power here. And then why this one is 0.25? The reason is very simple, because the second 5 cents here is actually for the second 3 months. So I would say this is actually 3 months from now, and I'm going to take 3 over 12. And this 3 over 12, after we convert into decimal, we can get 0.25. As simple as this, yeah? So after we key in everything here inside the calculator, and we're going to get the present value of 0.049, yeah? Okay, actually it's not much different with the second 5 cents here. Okay, right, anyway, this is how we find out the present value, okay, for the two payment that we make here actually. So some of you might be wondering, why this one, the first 5 cents, we don't have to find out the present value? Because the first 5 cents we are paying right now. So meaning to say, this is basically the present value already for the first payment. Okay, so in total, the present value of the storage cost is equals to 0.05 plus the present value for the second payment of 5 cents. Yeah. So all in all together, the present value of the storage cost is about 9.9 cents. And this is something that we need to include in the $10 here when we do the predictions, okay, for the future price for this silver. Okay, so now we can proceed to find out the future value for the silver here. So over here I need to put 10 plus the present value of the storage cost, and then after that the power we need to put 0.1 multiplying by 0.5. Again, why this one is 10%? Why this one is 0.1? Because they mentioned a 10% here. Okay, why is it 0.5? Because this is the prediction for 6 months from now, yeah? And 6 months after we convert into a decimal, then we're going to get 0.5, yeah? Okay, so very simple. This is how we find out the future value for the silver here. So what we're going to do after this is key in everything in the calculator, and then we can get the answer straight away. So the answer that I'm going to get is about 10.62. Okay, and this is $10.62. Okay, so basically that's it for this video. Okay, thank you and bye bye. Have a nice day, everyone.